So, a few things. We're doing a life update tonight. And I want to do this because I was wrong about a couple of things. You guys do want to sit down and go into insight with me. And I guess sometimes I forget that. I get caught up in the music, in the hypocrisy of visuals, because I know I just talked about fuck fancy cameras, right? And I can be very contradictory sometimes and change my mind on certain things. Not necessarily that you need a fancy camera, but that sometimes really just talking and sitting down and exploring different ideas about life can be really just a nice space to be in. It doesn't matter who it is, really. It's just a nice place to be in talking about life. But having said that, I do want to update because I know that to those of you who have been following me for a long time, it's important to get into philosophy and mind change and all this kind of stuff. It really is. It matters a great deal. I've been processing with you guys a lot through music, and I've been really appreciating the feedback, and I've been enjoying kind of growing through this process over the last year and a half or so. Literally December of 2023, I found Suno. Well, to be honest, my husband found Suno. I have him to thank for all of this because he found Suno and realized how cool of a platform it was December of 2023. So it's kind of crazy how that happens. And just a great place for writers, even alone. You can bring your musical instruments on there and everything, and it will mix the sounds and everything as well. So you can kind of be as musical or as techie or as writing as you want to be with any of it. And I'm just a straight up writer. I'm not worrying about singing. I'm not worrying about playing instruments. I'm a writer and love to learn about new genres, and that's it. And it's just fun. So I appreciate you guys with that. So, it was a real eye opener this weekend for me to meet up with you guys. And it means so much, the feedback that you connect with the work I'm doing out here on YouTube. And it's just, it means the world to me. And talking about change and making amends here, because I think that this is really important for people. And it's really made me think. I don't get completely into the details of my life anymore. But when I reconnect or connect with people, I tend to feel a sense of pride for those that I know have been on my team the whole time, that maybe through a lot of trust, you kind of have to learn. And so it's been really cool the last few weeks learning a lot more about myself and the awareness that you can gain from really recognizing when people have changed. And forgiveness is definitely an earned thing, but even more importantly, trust will teach you that sometimes we all make mistakes. And in getting back into relationships that mean a lot to me, sometimes people lay the groundwork for those relationships that foundationally, maybe in the very beginning of that relationship, they've always been there for you. They might have made some mistakes that were absolutely wrong. You might have made some mistakes that were absolutely wrong. And the relationship, as a result of anybody making mistakes or not knowing what they want in relationships, especially in person, these things have to change. These relationships and these setups have to change, because sometimes relationships take a ton of time to work and to learn. And the thing that I really learned is that sometimes the trust and survival is what really matters. And we're all doing the best we can in life to a degree of, are we out to take from others? Are we out to contribute with others? Not to others, not for others, but like with others on a team basis. And this is where it really, really matters. The whole entire framework of what a relationship is built on is teamwork and team effort. Now, having said all of this, you can have different teams that represent a bigger community. So like my family team is a different team than when my family mixes with community. My friends that are like family are also a different team entirely because they require a different kind of relationship than my family team. Whereas friends that I'm getting to know are on another team or department. You could even say these things are departments within the bigger community. And so what I've recognized is that sometimes we don't necessarily know the motives of people or why they do what they do because we're not used to people foundationally taking us in, being nice to us, treating us with worth. And from the beginning, it's not something you could ever forget. It's really not. Like, there's always kind of a space that you hold for people who have treated you with a sense of like, you're worthy of a roof over your head. You're worthy of, you may not be perfect and I'm not going to give you all of my time or everything for free or this, that, and the other thing, but you are worth value. You are, it's like you have a place. You can belong if you want, that kind of thing, right? And somebody introducing you within their community, introducing you, like, you never tend to forget that, taking you in when you have absolutely nothing. I mean, it's one thing, there are motives of people who take you in when you've got a lot of money to provide or when you've got resources. But I mean, if somebody takes you in when you have absolutely nothing for as long as they possibly can without risking their own home, so that has to have a limit. Like, it can't be forever. When somebody does that, you tend to never, ever forget that. You tend to never underestimate the rare quality of that, even within just like when relationships change or move into a different state or people are doing different things or whatever. Maybe the relationships in a necessary sense need to change so that we don't go back into making mistakes and treating people like shit or any of that on all sides of the relationship or both sides or all the sides of a story, right? But having said all that, I'm really not the kind of person who cuts people off that are really, really good, that are not out to drain, I'm not going to forgive everybody. Like, I can kind of forgive, but I'm not going to forget what everybody has done if people have done wrong. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, if there are those that have treated you with value, shown that you're not a piece of shit and have shown you like just this really high quality, rare treatment, taking a huge risk in their own life in the process, it's just not something you'll ever forget. It's just not something you can cut off completely. Somebody has earned a spot in your life, even if that spot changes its setup. If somebody has earned a spot in your life, they'll always have a spot in your life from the beginning. And there's not a lot of room for doubt in that there's some room for shifting and maybe some boundaries on all sides, or some, limits or rules of what people need to go by out of respect for each other. And even different schedules on a certain level too. Different limits of what we all can do or whatnot, that kind of thing. But if somebody actually cares whether or not you eat, if somebody actually gives a fuck that you have a roof over your head, that you can't ever erase that. You can't ever forget that. It has nothing to do with if you share the same interests all the time, although that can surprise you. Sometimes people are very open-minded to different interests that you have, especially within sports or tech or different types of foods or different things. And sometimes people change because they had to go through some shit during the time that you weren't sure about them or that kind of thing, maybe. And you had to go through some shit of your own as well to grow. And so you've had to change in different ways, and then you reunite in person. And it's as if you actually know who they are. There is not this voice in your head saying, why are they doing this? What is their motive? Like that voice tends to quiet down, and you just tend to go about it. And again, you have your setup, you have your rules or boundaries or different ways of being. You have your respect for each other, you have your respect for yourself, but you also know that they respect you and that they give a fuck at the end of the day, even if there's disagreements, even if there has been ups and downs on both sides. So it's a beautiful process in life that is kind of like really rare and has been rare for me. And I just really wanted to bring up something positive, something comforting for y'all, because honestly, there's not a whole lot of people that care if you have a roof over your head. If you go through any kind of homelessness like we have, or any kind of you're at the very bottom, you'll find out what people need you for. You'll find out why people are in your life real quick. You'll find out who's using you. And most people only have you in their life because you are a resource to them, not because they care if you have resources. I'll put it that way. And there's been a lot of things of that nature that I've explored on this whole show, both YouTube, podcast, TikTok, Facebook, getting back into X, and all of that. Because, a lot of times people just use you as kind of a disposable resource, and they think that you're going to be at their beck and call and that you're always going to come back to them. That's only going to be true if they've earned that spot by giving a fuck. And so it's very rare that can happen. And I like to share the rare good. I don't like to share good for feel good sake or fake lighting or any of that kind of stuff, metaphorically speaking. I like to share rare good that really, the kind of good that is like hard to come by in life. The kind of comfort that is hard to find in life, the kind of community building and introduction. And we've been so blessed with a lot of really cool friends that we wouldn't even be where we are today without, over this last year, especially in these last couple of years, that have shown that like we're worth something, and that, and it's not that you need people to show you that you're worth anything. You know this about yourself inherently. That's why you will fight for your rights. That's why you will try something. Like if you don't ever try anything, it's because you don't think you deserve it. It's because you don't think you're worth it. But the problem is you get used to the other side of things. You get used to being told no after a while. You get used to being And you kind of see, like, you know, but my intentions have always been good. I was never out to do anything, especially if you tell me that it is not what you want to do. If you don't want to eat pizza, if you don't want to drink or do drugs or whatever, or anything of that nature. You know, especially even if it's like, if it in the past, if it was about dating or anything of that nature. And if you know, like, you're a well-intentioned person, but some people, when they watch you or when they see you for years, or when they know you, family, blood included, sometimes people only want to look for the bad because they themselves feel really, really upset that you have something going. And it takes a very strong person to be happy for you. It takes a very strong person to send you positive vibes, good vibes. Takes a very strong person to take a risk with you. You know, it takes some strong people. It takes a very strong community, really, because it's not even just about one person exactly. It takes a huge community of strength, and it could be a small number of people or a huge number of people, but that community is huge because of the strengths that it has. So I hope that this kind of helps. Appreciate those that support you. Appreciate those that are not doing it for you, not doing it about you, not doing it because of you, but just like doing it with you. And working together and showing you how to work together. And showing you that you're not the only one who thinks you should get a roof over your head. So I hope that this gives you something to sit with, really, and introspect on. It's okay that people can decide and base those decisions on how they are treated. That is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make you small. That doesn't make you needy. That doesn't make you difficult to deal with at all. You are valued, and you deserve to be treated with value. You deserve to be treated with love and kindness. You deserve to be considered. You deserve not to be left out. You deserve not to be hidden from. You deserve not to be taken advantage of. So I hope that this episode helps. And also, I'll just say this based on some Facebook conversations. You deserve to pay your own bills and not somebody else's. Take care of yourself. Take care of your life. Take care of each other. Work together. Support each other. But also respect yourself.